See how many. So which storage mode leaves the data at the data source? Which connectivity mode? I know Abhinaya is already have the answer for this, except Abhinaya. Anybody else knows the answer? What is it? Which storage mode leaves the data at the data source? This is what we discussed, right? So far, can you type it in the chat window? It will not load the data into your Power BI desktop. Which one? Which one will not load the data into Power BI desktop? Which mode? Very good, Indu. How about others? How about others? Sakshi, and those of you who are not working, right? You should be knowing it because others are working people. Yeah, direct mode, right? So why not live mode? Live mode also it leaves the data at the source, right? Satya says it is a live mode. Okay, it's a direct query. Okay, this storage mode leaves the data at the data source. We can say direct query, and we can say it's a live mode also, right? Yeah. In both the cases, the data are not loaded here locally. The next one is you are creating a Power BI report with data from an Azure Analytics Services Cube, SSAS. When the data refresh in Cube, you would connect live. The type of the mode, that's what they are asking. That's what I see. When you see the SSAS, and simply you can say it's a direct connection mode. Sorry, live connection mode in the case of SSAS. Okay. These are all kind of your, let's say if you are going for exam, Microsoft exam, they conduct for Power BI, DA100 or so, right? So in that case, you can expect these kind of questions. And the next one is how to diagnose and optimize performance. Okay, and we have something called query folding. In case of any, let's say you have developed a report, but it takes longer time to refresh the data in your or to populate the data into your visual. Let's say you developed a report. See, if you take a company, for example, let's say you work for a US company and a large US based company. Let's say in their company, right, they have two departments. One is the IT department, and other one is business team so the business team guys, they know very well about the business, what strategy they need to apply for any given situation. In the case of festival, what kind of offer we can give, in which product, in which category we can have this margin, what kind of how much margin we can keep it, all those things. They the business team, they do all kind of strategizing. But the business team, right, they rely on IT team. So these guys are good in technical, but they have some extent the business knowledge. Okay, these guys are good in business, these guys are good in technology. Okay, so these guys, they'll contact them, hey, can you please develop a report for me? Okay, and this is pretty urgent, can you do this? Okay, you developed a report and gave it to them, and when they view the report, right, they could not see any data in the visual, right? And also they are using some slicer. Let's say in your report, right, the report which you do, there is a slicer. They want to see the north region cells. They selected the north region in the slicer. It's kind of filter, but it takes a hell lot of time. They've been waiting for the last 8 hours. They've been waiting. Your report was, your in the report visuals were not at all displaying the data there. They are frustrated, right? So in that kind of situation, this is one of the common problem or common interview questions you can expect. Okay, and posed by the all the developers. Okay, and in that case, how do you diagnose, how do you optimize the performance? So where the problem, why the report takes longer time to populate the data into visuals, where the problem is, and how do we, okay, the problem is with the SQL query. We have used direct connectivity mode, it takes longer time to pull the data from the source system. So what is the problem? Okay, and how do we improve the performance? Okay, how do we optimize the performance? Okay, these are the three reasons, right? The performance, query performance, depends heavily on the source system, data. Okay, let's say you have a SQL server is your source system, SQL Server database your source system, right? So already the SQL Server database got overburdened because so many people are concurrently accessing database. On top, you are sending a query from your Power BI to SQL Server. Already the source system got overburdened. On top, if you go and ask him, hey, can you do something? It's something like, in the gym, you are, you are overdoing. You are lifting too much of weight. Like SQL Server, if you add additional burden, right, it will hang. The performance will not be good. You cannot expect a fast response. And also follow performance tuning guidelines for the product. For example, in this case, if the query takes longer time to retrieve the data from the SQL Server side, then you need to contact the SMEs, subject matter expertise. Or if you are as a Power BI developer, you should be good with fine tuning the SQL query also. You need to find out why the query is very slow in the source system. And then from the Power BI side, is there any way, is there anything required to do the performance tuning? Right, you need to keep these three things in mind before you go ahead with addressing the performance query response time, right? Query performance related issues. You need to keep these three things in mind. Okay, there is something called query folding. It's an interesting feature that is available in Power Query Editor. In the case of so how does this? What is so special about this query folding? The query folding process, right? It allow the Power Query to generate a single query statement, okay, and to retrieve and transform the source data. That is the idea of query folding. See what exactly query folding is all about. Okay, it is a process of taking complex tasks generated by the Power Query Editor and pushing those tasks back to the database for execution. It's something like in your organization, you have manager and you have, many developers are there. Your manager is already busy. Okay. What he does is if somebody else, right, the person above him, senior manager, give him some work, what he does is he'll go and check if anybody is free in my team. Hey, you pick up this job because I'm already busy. Something like this. Power BI, what it does is, let's say in the case of SQL Server, or some other database like Oracle or right. So those database also it is for query folding is supported. So in this case, what will, especially in the case of MySQL, remember it, MySQL is not supported. Okay, and SQL Server is Microsoft SQL Server is supported. Let's say you want to do some kind of data transformation. You go to the Power Query Editor. You want to combine two queries using left join, right join. What will happen is for the transformation, whatever you do it, right, for the corresponding transformation, it generates the query smartly. The Power BI Power Query Editor, it generates the query and it sends the query to your SQL Server. And that only the query will be sent to your. The first step is the Power BI, any data transformation, you do it, or if you are using any visuals in your report canvas, right, it will generate a query and then that query will be sent to SQL Server. The query will get executed in the place where the data exists. See, let's say your query size is maybe 4 KB. 4 KB is very small size. Your data size is here. You have terabyte volume of data is there. You want to run a query against terabyte volume of data, right? Instead of sending a 4 KB SQL query file, right? If you download, if you the terabyte volume of data here, it'll take a lot of time. Instead, there is an option called query folding. What it does is if you do any data transformation in the Power Query Editor, you can do it, but it will generate the SQL query for the data transformation which you did it. For example, you deleted a column and then you have merged the column and then you change the data type of a column. You did all kind of data transformation and then you want to merge one table with another table data. Okay, in that case, what will generate the query and then send the query back to your source system. Hey, this is your piece of job, piece of this is your piece of job. Okay, you take up this job and then run the query against this because the volume of the data is very high, and then send the back data, the output back to me, so that the output whatever generated, right, it will be sent here. So there are situations what we did because of the limitations with the direct query. There are certain transformations we did it in the SQL services. We have written some stored procedures. In the stored procedure, what we did, we combined 6 to 8 tables. Okay, and then we did some kind of left outer join, right outer join, and finally with the combined data, right? So we again, once again, we combined with some other data. Okay, and then what we did, with all these things, right? Our stored procedure, it took care of it. Okay, we created a stored procedure. All the complex data transformation, everything has been done using the stored procedure in the source system itself, and then all I need here is just the output. Okay, you do all the transformation here. Your headache, give me the output. You give me the result. That's all. In simple term, this is what query folding. The another simple analogy, let's the query is something like a manager. Only one manager is there. He is sitting in, he is in Bangalore, and all the your team. You have 50-member teams are there in Pune. Okay, so is it wise sending the manager from one manager from Bangalore to Pune, or is it wise to send all the 50 developers from Pune to Bangalore? If I ask 50 developers to migrate or shift from Pune to the Bangalore, just because one man is sitting there, it is not the sound decision, right? Instead, 50 people are there. Better you can send one person, right? Even if you book a flight ticket, it will not cost much, right? Rather, if you send the 50 people, that is the thing happening here. So you send the query here because the volume of the data is very high. Let the query can fire the place where the data is there, and then get the output back from your SQL server. This is what query folding is all about. But query folding is not supported for all kind of data transformation. For example, we will just go here and we will take a look at this. And let me just open that file, day4 connection mode. That's the reason why I saved it, because I don't have to have the headache of once again hit the get data icon and reload, connect to the SQL server again, give the server name. I don't know. That's the reason why I saved it. I just open that file now to show you, where the query gets created. Okay, in the Power Query, it will get created. I'll just show you that now. Okay, now we are connected. Good. It is pretty fast. I just go to the model view. I can see all the tables, right, which I connected. So this is direct connectivity mode, and these are import mode. All these three tables, we brought it. We connected with SQL. These are all SQL Server table, and expense is the Excel file. Okay. And next, what I do is I just go to the report canvas, and then I just go to the transform data. Look here, in the case of direct connected mode, you can do the data transformation, and also you can view the data in the Power Query Editor for the direct connection mode. Okay, those tables you've used the direct connection mode, you can see it here. Look here. Here, what I do is I just go to the sales fact table, and then I'll click on refresh. Fine. So now what I do is on the right side, you can see source. Along with that, you can see the icon here. So this icon, the wheel kind of icon. When you click on this, you will get to know the server name. So this is the server, right? And this is the database. Okay, you can see all the details. Fine. The next one is the navigation. When you right click on it, you will find something called view native query. You just click on it. You can see the query for this table, right? So product ID, all the things, right? All the columns that are available, a query has been generated. But for a CSV file, comma separate value file, import file, you cannot see that. For example, expenses, if you go here, And if I go to the navigation, if I right click on it, you don't see view native query because it's an Excel file. And but whereas in this case, the sales fact, if you click on here, sorry, the navigation, you can see it here. This is for direct connected mode. Let us check for the same for the import mode. And here, if I right click on it, see, even in the case of import or direct connect mode, the query got generated. Okay. So now what I do is I just store it in a file for our reference. Now what I do is I just go back to my sales fact table. Oh, okay. This is for sales fact table. I just remove some column here and okay, I just change the data type here. Okay. So for example, it's all correct. The data types are correct only, right? So here, okay. So what I do is I don't need the cost price here. Okay. I just remove this. Cost price, I deleted that column. Now I go to the remove column step on the right side, right click on it, and still I can see the view native query got enabled. So if you see here, the cost price got removed here. Cost price got removed. And next, what I do is intentionally, I just want to combine these two, list price and quantity. I want to use some kind of merge columns, and I use something like space, and then I use OK, merged. Look here, in this case, merging the column. This step results in a query that is not supported in direct query mode. There is a limitation here. You cannot merge the columns. Okay. And on top, if you go here, right click on it, look here, the view native query is not enabled, which means the query folding is not supported. Okay, hence the query has not been generated. And here he gives an option, switch all tables to import mode. If you click on it, the entire data of this table will get loaded into your Power BI desktop. But I don't want to do that because the volume of data is very high. Instead of merging the column here, better I go to the SQL server. There I'll create a view and I do all kind of data transformation there. I'll remove the columns, I merge the columns in the table view, and then I will import that view into my Power BI desktop. This is another option. Please remember this. Okay, not all data transformation that you can do it with the direct connected mode, but you don't have any option. You cannot import the data. Volume is very high. You cannot do all kind of data transformation here. Only a limited data transformation you can do it. Better what you do is whatever the data, like merging the columns, those kind of things, everything you can do it in this SQL Server databases itself. Create some stored procedure of functions. You implement it everything. You do everything there, and you just call the stored procedure from your Power Query editor. Oh, sorry, Power BI. Got it? Now I understood the limitations with this. Okay. They'll ask you what kind of limitations are there. So merging the columns and adding an index column. If you want to add an index column, that is not possible in the case of direct connection mode. These are the limitations in the case of Power Query Editor when it comes to the transformation. Okay, changing the data type. Let's change. Let's try. Let's see if you can change the data type to something else. I'm going to change it to decimal number. Let's see what happens. Is Okay, let me do one thing. I just go here. I will remove this one and this one will give because that step was not there. For example, I just change it to the decimal number. Okay, not this one. So this one will give error. Okay, I just go to some numeric data type. But numeric also it is not, yeah, text data type. I want to convert the text data type. Data type conversion is possible. Right click on it and view native query is available. You can change the data type. Okay. And you can do it here, but the query got generated still. Okay. You can change the data type, but in this case, the decimal number, just to demonstrate, right? So what I do is, okay, I just first I undo the step which I did it. So automatically I get back to my previous state of my column. Okay, fine. Now you understood the limitations with the direct query mode, okay, or with and then the query folding, okay. Query folding is available only for the limited transformation. If you want to add a index to a table, that is not possible, okay, it will not work. Merging the columns, it will not possible. Okay, it will not generate the query. First of all, the query should get generated, isn't it? Only when the query get when this icon got enabled, you can understand that, okay, this query will be sent to the SQL server. In the SQL server, this query will run, and the output, the result of this query will be received from my SQL server to Power BI desktop, right? If you don't see the view native query option, this icon got enabled, that means query folding is not supported for this specific data transformation. What transformation? Merging the columns, it will not work. First of all, it will throw an error, okay. Fine. Now you understood what is query folding. This is another concept. Now let us take a quick or take few quick questions. Which storage mode leaves the data at the source already we discussed, and which technology improves performance by generating a single query statement, retrieve and transform source data? Which technology or feature that improves performance by generating a single query and transform source data? Which one is the best one? What is the correct answer for this? I explained it just a while, right? Generating a single query statement. What is generating a single query statement? Guys, look here. Here it generated the query, right? What is this is called? Query folding. Are you all feeling sleepy? Okay, it's already 10:30. Yes, I understood. Okay, what we will do is in tomorrow's session, we will take a look at how to identify and fix various data related errors at a high level. Okay, but as we move forward, we will see what other errors you can encounter. The interview, they'll ask you what are the errors that you posted. You mentioned that you have 4-year experience. Right? What are the errors you encountered? If you say no, I did not, then something wrong. Fine, guys. You have any questions? With this, I'm going to wrap up now. Okay, since you don't have any questions, we will continue the rest of the topics in tomorrow's session. So in the agenda, right, what are the topics that I made to cover, that we will continue tomorrow. Okay. So okay, see you all on tomorrow night, same time, and I'm going to wrap up the session now. And Kiran, are you there? I will call you later. Okay.